Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to speak at ThED Talks. My name is Layla Tenney. I'm a theater arts educator in Arizona, and I am pleased and honored to have the privilege to speak amongst several great colleagues I see here today before me. Thank you. Sir Ken Robinson says in his TED Talk that creative intelligence is divided into three parts. It is diverse, dynamic, and distinct. I believe that as an arts educator, it is only true that students exist within the same realm. The arts create a place for students that are each diverse, dynamic, and distinct. I want to focus my thoughts on the places that we create as educators, the spaces in which our students exist. Lauren Stevenson and Richard Deasy describe a specific third space that includes sets of relationships forged by the arts. The term third space has a history in the arts in describing the way in which meaning exists. The first space is the viewer, the second space, the piece of art. But it is within those interactions of each other where the student brings his or her own experiences and imagination to bear the interpretation of the artwork where a third space exists. The same theory is true for educators and classrooms. In a traditional classroom, the first space is a student. They absorb everything delivered that is taught to them like a blank slate, like a blank canvas. The second space is the content delivered through worksheets and textbooks and lectures, busy work. From this point, however, the traditional classroom has no room for a third space. The revolution stops at this point because the answer is written down, right or wrong, on their paper. It is true or false. You understand the content or you don't. The individuality and the creativity of the student at this point is then repressed and obsolete. The answer on the chalkboard, practically etched on stone in the student's mind forever. As an educator, I know that it is true a school is a series of places, but I'm not just discussing the lunchroom or secret hideaway behind the bleachers. It is my argument, along with these distinguished colleagues, that a third place is required. A place in which creativity is at the heart of the educational content. Let me describe for you two students that I have worked with in a rural classroom that are all in need of a third space. I taught several different courses of theater at Chino Valley High School in small town Arizona, where I had the unique privilege of building a drama program from the ground up. Chino Valley is a small town with a very real small town vibe. It is the kind of small town podunk where people move for the land to place their land roaming toys like ATVs and dirt bikes alongside their land roaming animals like cows and horses. Boys wear cowboy hats and boots to school, and the whole community comes out to watch the Friday night football games. At the high school, the sports program and FFA, the Future Farmers of America, have trumped all arts programs, if they existed in the first place. And there is little to no support from teachers, administration, or even community outreach. It is within the confines of this small town high school that I have found a majestic reprise from all of this small thought. It is in my small 63-seat theater space walls where I have allocated a third space for unique students who have found a safe haven on and off the stage in my classroom. I would love to share a couple of examples of students who found their home on the stage. The first student's name is Taylor, and she joins my class as a technical theater student, although she would make a great actress and she has a real flair for the dramatics. Okay, she's eager to get to work right away. She wants to help backstage, on stage, after school, during school, makeup, hair, hammering, lights, anything. Taylor's the girl to get the job done. I loved the spunk she carried, the positivity, the energy. It was 3 weeks into the school year working with Taylor after school each day, preparing for a production when she wanted to confide in me a secret. Taylor had felt lost on campus, hopeless and without any group to belong in. She was teased and bullied relentlessly by students and even by teachers. She was planning on switching schools. to a neighboring and larger city nearby. Taylor then revealed that she was a transgendered student that had transitioned from Taylor the boy to Taylor the girl in her 8th grade year, some 2 years earlier. I was stunned. I had been so excited as an arts educator to engage a student as eager as Taylor to notice that she was a lost, transgendered student roaming the walkways of Chino Valley High School without a home. She expressed her gratitude to the department for accepting her. Another student, Daniel, began his high school career by joining FFA, the Future Farmers of America. He seemed inappropriate in a small town, and as an overachiever, he wanted to belong to a group. I was lucky enough to have Daniel also join my advanced actors his sophomore year and kept him until he graduated. Eventually, after building a solid relationship with Daniel, he confided in me that he had only joined FFA because it was a requirement to memorize and perform their creed, and it was the only outreach Chino Valley had at the time for any performing arts. When Daniel joined theater, he flourished in a fast way. He quickly became one of the best actors I've ever taught, state qualified with individual performances at competitions, became president of our International Thespian Society troupe. In his senior year, Daniel auditioned for the New York Conservatory of Dramatic Arts and was accepted as a prestigious placement of selected students along with a scholarship. Daniel is the most unique student I've ever encountered, and he continues to impress me each day with his artistic way of thinking and his creative energy, always curious and longing for more. These are just 2 examples of many students who, without this 3rd place, without a chance to allow their creative intelligences to be rewarded, might not have been able to understand or succeed in any of the places on campus. It is for these students, as well in some way all of our students, that I choose to develop relationships with my students that transcend the content. Kiran Sethi discusses the positive contagion within the words, "I can," in her TED Talk. How a student's mindset can shift from a teacher told me mentality to a I am doing it, a process that can be energized and nurtured. It is the same as Eric Booth's idea regarding the verbs of art that best depict the place I am describing. Rather than the nouns of art we all discuss at staff meetings between lesson planning and grading papers. Ken Robinson says, without reserve, my contention is that creativity now is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. As art educators, it is our duty, no, it is our privilege to create leaders from our classroom stage by implementing I can attitudes, using verbs of art set in motion, and creating 3rd spaces for each individual student, no matter what marks on a paper says about them. Henri Matisse, the famous French artist, says that creativity takes courage. I absolutely agree. In fact, Eric Booth reminds us all the origin of the word bravo, a most beloved word in the theater. Booth says, when bravo was first called out in the theater, it was not called out of the recognition of great virtuosity as it is today. It was called out in recognition of great courage. If you saw a performer take a chance, even if it wasn't completely pulled off, you hollered out, bravo, to recognize that fundamental act of courage. Bravo to Taylor, my transgendered student who taught me to see through to the soul. Bravo to Daniel Grayson for pursuing his passion the best way he knew how, only to come out with remarkable success. And bravo to creativity and arts educators everywhere, putting in great efforts day after day, gifting 3rd spaces to kids in need. Thank you.